Well, welcome everybody today to Parent Engagement for School Councils. My name's Nicole Herbert. I have 15 years of school council chair under my belt. I have been an active member of my ward council. I have represented my ward on PIAC, the Parent Involvement Advisory Committee, and I'm currently a member of the PIAC working groups for school council support and for communications. Today, my support person is Shanti Chand, who is a PIAC rep for Ward 19, a very active member in her own community and is no stranger to parent engagement. Thanks for helping today, Shanti. Shanti will be handling the Q&A, so the chat is only going to go to us, but if you have questions, it's probably best to use the Q&A box to pop your questions in there, and either Shanti will respond or we'll save them up. There'll be time for questions at the end. FYI, my other hat is the Parent Partnership Committee for Mental Health and Wellbeing at the TDSB, who are also doing some sessions today. Now let me just coordinate my buttons. I would like to start by acknowledging that this meeting is situated upon traditional territories. These territories include the Wendat, the Anishinaabeg Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, Mississaugas of the New Credit, and the Métis Nation. I would also like to recognize the enduring presence of Aboriginal peoples on the land. If anybody is looking for interpretation, you can click the box of the interpretation box and connect yourself with the person who is doing the language of your choice.
Yeah, I do Vietnamese.
Oh, and we have Vietnamese on as well. Yeah. Orlando, did you set him up?
I'm working on that.
Oh, perfect. So I'm going to start at the beginning with the reason why school councils exist. This was something created by in the Ontario Education Act and is described in Ontario Reg 612. School councils are defined as an advisory body that improves student achievement and enhance the accountability of the education system to parents. What we do at school councils will revolve around that mandate. So parent engagement versus parent involvement are two different concepts, really. And the involvement piece is what we more commonly see in schools, that being the part where we are in the schools, we are volunteering for field trips, we are fundraising, and typical involvement activities that are very useful to the school are not actually parent engagement and have not been proven to improve student achievement. Research has shown us that real parent engagement happens at home, and that's what impacts the student achievement piece the most. It's positive relationships between home and school. Engagement recognizes the knowledge that families bring and moves beyond that parent agenda for the school. Today, I'm going to be using the word parent for the most part, but I intend to include parents, caregivers, and guardians in all of that. So since parent engagement is what we do at home, it is not just coming out to council events that demonstrates engagement. Parents demonstrate engagement at home simply by showing interest in their child's life and their school day, reading with their kids, working together with everyday projects. Parents demonstrate that they value where their children spend their day at school by attending children's school events, by supporting them with their homework, by helping with course selection and encouraging children to enjoy all the benefits that school has to offer. So for the school council piece, parent partnership is what we're really focusing on. We're supporting that student well-being and achievement piece, the two arms of our mandate, support student achievement, by eliminating barriers to engagement, by supporting parents with workshops potentially. We're building that home to school relationship that helps parents understand the system better, and we're holding that system accountable through a variety of mechanisms, some of which are required and set up for you: school committees, consultation opportunities, parents sitting on the interview teams for vice principal candidates, And of course, we want to make sure that we're going to do equity in all of our actions. So for those of you at school councils trying to attract parents to your council, there are some common areas of struggle that we've seen. Many people simply do not know what school council does. Some don't feel themselves, see that they're reflected in the school council. There's a lot of volunteer burnout, and so people don't want to participate, often because they're doing a lot of fundraising. And sometimes there's just internal conflict in your school council. These all result in a lack of participation for your council. But let's remember the one thing we all have in common is that we want our students to succeed. So use that to jump off of to solve your issues. We want to support the entire community as the school council. So with our mandate, supporting student achievement and holding the system accountable to parents, at home, we want to learn about what parents are in our community. Who's a member of our community? What do they need? How can we help them understand the education system better and support their children better? At school council, we are that active voice for parents representing that entire community, where we want to build that culture of welcome and be very intentional that we're giving the opportunity for all of the parents in our community to participate and be heard. I'm a big fan of planning because I think with your school council, a good plan makes for a more productive council and a more accountable council. So I will think we should start by defining our vision around our mandate. We should match the efforts of our council to what the school actually needs. And we do that by getting information about our school community. We look at the school profile, which is data about our demographics in our neighborhood. We look at our school improvement plan. We can survey our families and our staff to find out what our community needs. And when we gather that information together, we can use that to create the plan for our council, making sure that we're being inclusive, we're identifying any gaps that information has illustrated. And we want to evaluate what we've been doing in the past as part of this planning. Every year we'll review our plan and see, okay, what worked last year, what didn't work, what we still need to continue with. Are we supporting our parents, or are we just something that makes more work for them? And we want to think beyond just meetings. Depending on the size of your council and how much you can tackle, meetings are for a specific set of parents that we know will be interested in that, but engagement happens at home. So it's not just the meeting parents that we're going to be addressing at school council. And we have tools in place for council. With our planning, every school has a school improvement plan. And this is pretty much what it sounds like. It's a plan based on school data that identifies learning issues, where we're successful, where we need to work. And if these are the school's goals, they should also be the school council's goals. We're working to the same end. So the goals that are in a school improvement plan have shifted a little this year, but still fairly similar. Every school will be developing goals around school belonging and well-being, achievement, and new this year, Indigenous education and sovereignty. We're always mindful that we're embedding equity into all of our goal work. Now, parents are required to be consulted in the development of the school improvement plan, and the board is putting together resources this year, new for principals and parents to help better engage parents in the school improvement process. This is a great place to start for your school council. If you're not really sure where to go with engagement, school improvement plan is always your go-to place to start. School committees, there are some mandated committees that every school has to have and are required to have parent participation on. Those are Caring and Safe Schools. This is a committee that schools do, obviously, their safety work. Some schools also do their mental health work in this committee. The Staffing Committee is the committee that prepares the models for next year's classes in elementary. And parents should be involved in the development of this plan and be able to consult in the development of the plan and not just be presented with the plan when the staff have finished with it. ideally, we're involved all the way through. Now, at the secondary level, the staffing challenges are a little different, and due to the complexities of student scheduling and the collective agreement, at the secondary level, staffing looks more like an information sharing piece. Your principal should still be able to bring staffing numbers, enrollment numbers to you, and that will impact what courses they are or are not able to offer students. So that's where the staffing piece hits at the secondary level. School improvement plan, regulation 612 requires parent participation in that. And the other area is the budget, school budget. School budget is found on the website for every school. It's a public budget. Some schools have a separate committee for this. Some schools, the principal will bring that information to school council. These are all areas that if your school council isn't doing this, you can ask your principal, how can we start integrating these things into our council work? Every school council gets money from the Ministry of Education, and that travels through the board to school councils, and it lands in the school's budget on line GL 41500. This is money that school council decides how is spent. Not the principal, not anyone else. It's a council decision on how you use these funds. Now, these funds are $500 per school, and that's dedicated to parent engagement. Kind of nice to have that. And the other piece is administration funds for your council. This is based on enrollment, so it's $1.25 per student. So it's a minimum of $300 to a maximum of $800. So you've got a fair chunk of money that you can work with. And if you need to know more about how you can use this money, you can go to the PIAC website and find more ideas and links. To be an accountable and transparent school council, I think is very key to engaging parents in your council work. And there are, again, things in place around that. Every school should have bylaws for their school council, and these are the standards that define your operation. In Regulation 612, there are 3 bylaws specifically required. Your council may choose to have more. Now, last year, the TDSB put together a bylaw template for school councils, and all school councils in TDSB are required to use that template to create their bylaws. This is to keep them compliant with the regulation and with any board policies. So this is a template you'll find on the TDSB site. It links from PIAC as well if you want to go to our site and get the link straight to that page. This template has a discussion document, so you can talk about which pieces you want to include of the optional pieces and which versions of the mandatory pieces that your council wants. You simply go through and discuss that as a community, compile your draft, and then you send that in on the template to the PCEO, Parenting Community Engagement Office. Your bylaws are generated and come back to you. Then all you have to do is vote them in at your council. If your council fundraises, not a big fan of fundraising because, like I said before, I think it sometimes devolves into parent busy work. But if you want to fundraise, by all means, please make sure that what you're spending your money and efforts on matches your school council mandate. If you're fundraising for things that are not impacting student achievement, then are you really fundraising wisely? If you do fundraise, there's some paperwork that goes with that. The fundraising plan needs to be prepared at the beginning of the year because legally you have to spend the money, tell people what you're going to spend the money on and spend it on those things. So the fundraising plan is a living document that you give to your principal, you share that with your community, and the form is called SGFFP, which stands for School Generated Funds Fundraising Plan. You can find the template on the PIAC site as well. You're also required by the board to do reporting for public sector accounting, PSAB we call it, and those are reports that are supplied to the principal and the board. Communicating, a big piece of what you do as school council. You get tools for that too. PIAC was involved a lot with the board efforts around these communication tools, and every school council gets a TDSB shared email account. that account is the same address all the time, and it's transferred from one chair to the next as the members of your committee change. With this TDSB email account, you can access your free Zoom account for meetings and other events. You also have access to School Messenger, which is the broadcast tool that your principal uses to reach out the entire school population. And you also have access to some grant opportunities that you can access with your school council email account. I know there has been technical problems over the last many years with getting these accounts activated. Your principal will activate this account annually. But PIAC has put a motion forward last year to the board, and staff have responded by increasing the support and improving the tools and support process for getting problems solved with access to your school council account. So I encourage you to get that set up. That's how you're going to get communications from board and ministry sources. You also have a spot on your school's TDSB website. You don't have to set up your own website, although some school councils choose to. Every school website has a place for school council information, and you can access that with your school administration or your principal to put up your minutes, your annual reports, your contact information, events you might be hosting. You can use that tool. You can also access a very cool tool called the Thought Exchange through the PCEO. If your school council wants to use the Thought Exchange, which is sort of a kind of interactive survey tool, really cool platform, you can contact the PCEO to get access to that for your school council. You might want to use that for consultations, and some of that is required work from school councils. You are required to consult your parent community in a certain required areas from the reg, like dress code and such. Also, the ministry and the board are required to consult you about certain things. So read the reg, check it out, and you find out where your consultation should be happening. To consult your community, there's a lot of variety of ways you can do that. You can survey them. There's lots of free survey options. There, you could host a dedicated session. You could have discussion breakout rooms on your Zoom. So there's a lot of ways you can do that. And look about that. Consultation is an opportunity to engage with your community and build the engagement and relationship. So what's universal about engagement? We're using the two arms of our mandate. We're building that partnership of respect with staff, with parents. We're embracing our diverse community and making sure we're hearing the voices of everybody, not just the people that come out to our meetings. We're bringing that family knowledge piece to our school using committees and our school council tools. We're building parent capacity to help them understand and support their kids. And we're reaching out to parents who don't want to come to the meetings with other opportunities. So some targeted strategies that we're going to look at today, division-based. So I'm going to be talking about elementary strategies, which is kindergarten to grade 6, basically. Middle school, which is its own session of around the grade 6 to 8 group. And then high school, which is the secondary grades 9 to 12. Elementary, you're bringing new families coming into the system. You have opportunities here to support brand new parents incoming. Looking at the two arms of our mandate, our student achievement, our system accountability. Achievement piece, we can be supporting mental health and well-being. We can be supporting math and reading. There are French immersion opportunities at this age. Our system accountability piece will be helping parents understand the system. A lot of new people in with brand new parents with little ones, who help them learn how our system works. Even if they grew up in this system, doesn't mean that it necessarily works the same way that it did for them when they were students. We're going to engage our families in the school improvement planning process. We're going to look at those school committees, and we're going to write our school statement of needs. The school statement of needs is an annual document that parents write, and the template for this is on the PIAC website. This is a document that our superintendents use if they're replacing hiring a new administrator for our school. So it describes what's unique about your school community and what kind of a leader your school community would benefit from. And that the superintendent matches those criterion with candidates to become administrators at your school when they're changing. What kind of events could we then offer at the elementary level? Welcome to Kindergarten is a great event. A lot of councils do this, work together with their school staff to create an event for incoming parents. It's a great opportunity for councils to meet and greet and to engage with the incoming parents and let them know that they're there to support them. We could be running healthy eating events, nutrition events for our elementary families. We could have events that involve the kids and the whole family, which are great because if your kid wants to go to the event, that's going to be more likely that the parents are going to come. So hosting an event that is something like a math night, literacy night, or a fun night where kids actually will participate, because young kids will still do those things with their family. We are helping parents understand what's happening in the classroom. We are always having conversations about anti-racism and equity. EQAO, there are 2 sets of testing that happen in the elementary level. That's a great information opportunity to have your principal or staff share information about the EQAO testing. And of course, school improvement process. We always want to be involved in that. When we get to the middle school age, this is a bit tough area. A lot of parents tend to step back a little bit when their kids are this age because they're independent now and they may be experiencing a bit of burnout. So it's a tougher group to attract and engage, but it doesn't mean that we can therefore just forget about them. It's an important age where children are transitioning to adulthood and to different parts of their educational journey. So we want to make sure that we're still engaging that group of families in the achievement and the accountability pieces. Mental health and well-being becomes a fairly significant player at this point. It's a great opportunity to run STEM or STEAM activities, which is science, technology, engineering, art, and math. There'll be a good time to discuss alternative school choices. And of course, we're going to be transitioning kids to secondary school, another opportunity to support families and engage them. System accountability piece, maybe our parents now are feeling confident and would like to participate in vice principal candidate interview teams. One of the awesome things that PIAC has been very integral in putting together, when teachers apply to become vice principals and they're successful, they go into the central pool. When they go through this process, they have an interview stage, and that interview stage, every interview team contains a parent, and a parent has an opportunity to weigh in on every candidate that's applying to become a vice principal. This is an incredible opportunity for parents to really impact who becomes the leaders in our school system, and this is an incredible opportunity. It isn't especially parent-friendly scheduling wise, but it is so worth it to take the time off to do this. You get a training in advance of the session, and it's about a day for each panel, elementary or secondary, depending on what they're interviewing for that time of year. Strongly, strongly encourage you guys to take that opportunity. We're still looking at school improvement planning and how that middle school aged kid needs factor into the school improvement process, our committee, and our school statement of needs. So what do those kind of events look like? Social media, a big player for young adults. Healthy living, are you getting the right amount of sleep and nutrition? At this point, to get family interaction, you might be doing something more like a game night or even a basketball night. Parents and kids could do together, and staff get that relationship building. You could be hosting a mindful parenting session. You may have heard the keynote today talking about mindfulness. Good tool, kids use it at school as well. My Blueprint is the tool that the board uses to do course selection and future planning. So maybe you want to offer a session to your parents, have your guidance counselor or guidance department demonstrate how My Blueprint works, because parents can set up their own account parallel to their kid. We're always looking at equity, so maybe we're having anti-oppression discussions. We're looking at school student census data, because the census now at grade 7, the students start to complete this data themselves, not the parents. And maybe we're looking at our budget and getting involved in what our school's money is going towards. When we get to high school, it's kind of like starting again. You've got a new bunch of people coming into your school. So you have an opportunity to reach out and engage those parents. On the student achievement side, we're definitely looking at mental health and well-being, which is a large player on youth mental health crisis. We're looking at course selection. We're helping families understand how course selection works. We've got EQAO testing that is now a graduation requirement, so we can be looking at that. And after high school, where are our kids going? In the system piece, we are community building. That's a big part of high school, because we no longer have the same parents now. These are new parents feeding in, new families coming from other areas to the high school. They don't know each other yet, so you have an opportunity to meet each other. You don't see each other in the playground, so your community building, it has to be more intentional, because you don't have those casual interactions anymore. We're still going to engage our families in the school improvement process. We're still going to ask about those committees and how are they working at our high school. We're still going to be preparing an update for our school statement of needs every year. The kind of events we can offer at high school level, again, the welcome to grade 9. This is like a welcome to kindergarten, but at high school, kind of same thing. New parents coming in, how does the school work? Maybe you have some tours of the school, so families understand where their kids are all day. It's a different world, usually a little bigger. Internet safety, very key at this age for families, and relationships become a big player here. So maybe we're having conversations about healthy relationships. Maybe we're looking at our mental health supports, because as I say, youth mental health is a very important factor in the success of our students. We are still going to be dealing with course selection in My Blueprint sessions. That's always great to get guidance to help you with that. We're looking at post-secondary planning, and My Blueprint also gives you opportunities to look at beyond school and other future options. Good tool. Human rights, we're always having conversations about human rights, and we're engaging our families from our diverse backgrounds to be part of those conversations. So we want to still have some fun events. Never underestimate the humble potluck as an opportunity to explore multiculturalism, just get together and chat over some food. It's a comfortable time. It's a great opportunity to meet families and to bring them into the school council fold if they look like they're interested. Use your social media to reach out to parents. That's always a handy tool for your community. So focusing on engagement at all levels of grades, we're making sure our council is relevant. We're planning for success. We're going to write that plan down. We're going to share that plan with our school, our community. We're going to review it every year, make sure that we're still doing the things that we need to benefit our families. We have a relevant purpose that ties to the school council mandate. We're going to intentionally seek out our community voices. We're going to be accountable to those, and we're going to share and communicate with our parents and our caregivers. Universally, we're always going to be supporting families to build student success. It's our #1 priority. We want to allow opportunities and share opportunities to participate in those system pieces. And we're going to customize our school council efforts to what our school needs. When we're planning, it's easy to bite off more than you can chew, and you get excited and you get inspired, but let's keep it sensible to the size of our council. If you have a big council, maybe you can tackle more things. If you have a small council, that's okay. Be realistic with what your going to do with your council. Prioritize student achievement, and if it means that you're prioritizing things in an order and some things you've classically done don't happen anymore, that's okay. You don't have to always do what you've always done. Disrupt that. Really evaluate what you're spending your hard-earned time and energy doing for your community. Consult with your families. This is always an important opportunity to engage. It's a great way to find out what's going on in your community, what they want, what you can help them with, and promote your council. Make sure that people know you're there and that you're there to support families. Take those opportunities to let parents know about you. Anytime there's an opportunity where parents are in the school, set up a meet and greet table, speak at the events, make sure parents know you're there, and that you can use that opportunity for a casual surveying. There's lots of things you can do with that. Some schools do like a little coffee meet and greet once a month or something. These are opportunities to let people know that council is there for them. Make sure you invite your staff to your events. Community building is also staff. They are a very dramatically important player in the education life of your kids. If we're building that home to school relationship, we're knocking down barriers, we're building a sense of community knowledge, and the more familiar we are with each other, the more cooperative and welcoming we can be with our work. Use our communication tools. We have stuff available. Make sure that we're using those things to reach out. And sharing your minutes and annual reports, not just good practice, also required by Reg 612. Every meeting that you have needs to have minutes, and that's your general meetings or your subcommittee meetings. And that means that you just need to take some notes. And those notes, minutes, there's templates in the school council guidebook that that can show you how to take notes. There's lots of different styles you can use. The annual report, not a difficult document, also templates in the guidebook for that. Just tells people what you've been doing all year. And these are great ways to keep parents in the loop. If they're not coming out to your meetings, they still want to know what council's doing. They have access to that information because you're sharing, you're communicating. Now, this slide is one I always like to include. I find it kind of comforting to look at the cycle of school council. It's easy to get overwhelmed with all of the things that we're responsible for and that we'd love to do for communities. Let's keep in mind that councils are on a cycle. This is not just a straight line, it actually circles. You may find yourself in one place or another of this. As we go through year after year, you may find yourself in stage 3 really rolling along, and then a whole bunch of your parents graduate and you're back at stage 1. And that's okay. Recognize and be realistic. Don't stress yourselves out. If you do get parents coming out to your meetings, let's make sure that we're constructive and welcoming. We're attracting parents to our meetings with purpose that's meaningful to them. Let's schedule discussion topics. Let's send information out in advance. They can read the reports that are provided by various parties in the council, and we're not spending the whole meeting reading reports. We can get down to business. We're doing Zoom meetings. We're sending out our link and our dial-in options, which is very inclusive and great to have. I know some school councils are trying to run and have been running hybrid meetings this year. And the board is working on supporting tools for hybrid meetings because there's a lot of technology involved that some schools do or don't have. So stay tuned for that information. Let's make sure our meetings are productive. We're following our mandate, why we're there. We're introducing ourselves. We're explaining what we're doing. We're having lots of opportunities for discussion, and we follow up on our action items. If something's in our minutes that we're going to do this, and parents come back to the meeting next time, and that's not even talked about anymore, they're not going to feel that you're very productive or accountable. Beyond the meeting, one of the great things that the virtual milieu has taught us is that this has been a great opportunity for engagement. It has removed some of the barriers that are there for parents to participate in council activities, timing, childcare, comfort level of being in the school. So let's take advantage of that, and we can host non-meeting events, virtual or in person, depending on how your school wants this. But these are opportunities to build relationships with your community, learn about each other and create those connections, and promote your school council and increase its diversity and therefore better representation of your parent voice. Man, going the wrong way. Jumpy. So parent engagement is for everybody. It is not involvement in the school's agenda. It is what we do at home, supporting our kids. School council's role, two arms of the mandate: student success and holding the system accountable. We want to plan for success. We want to be a partnership with our school community, and we want to intentionally represent our entire diverse community as they journey through their kids' education. Home to school relationships are very key pieces of this pie. Here's a few handy resources. Shanti can share these in the chat if you like, or you can obviously go to torontopiac.com, our newly revamped website, to check out all the great resources we have for parents and for school councils on engagement and other tasks that you do as school council. We have a very handy toolkit for school councils, which includes a monthly checklist so you can follow along with what comes up at what time of year. I encourage you to check out the Community Support Hub. This is a site made by community support workers, originally based for model schools, but there are lots of valuable information in there that you can use for all school councils and parents, training initiatives, events. They have a researchable library as well. The PCEO, the Parent and Community Engagement Office, supporting us all the way through engagement. There's information there about how to get access to your communication tools, links to the conversation series, and the PCO has a YouTube channel where you can watch videos like this one. I strongly encourage you to look at the ministry resources. Ontario Regulation 612, that's that law that defines us. It's not that long of a piece to read, the part about school councils, so I encourage you to have a look through it and get familiar with that, because it's not as daunting as you think it is. And the school council handbook that the ministry has created is a robust guide full of tons of templates and ideas and resources. It isn't the most current document, so there are a few things that are out of date, but the templates are still current and lots of that information will still serve you well. Links for all of this is also on the PIAC site. Thanks everybody for coming today. I hope that you feel inspired to go back and engage your communities and support your families and build those partner relationships, fulfilling your school council mandate and making that true parent engagement, targeting our efforts for our community needs at home. That makes your council more meaningful, attracts more parents, and sits you better in your whole school community at every stage along the way.